USA, 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 USA. What is going on, everyone? Happy Taco Tuesday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every day, we're coming at you from our studio here in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, we're talking FTX. We're talking Bitcoin. We're talking BlockFi. We're talking regulation. We're talking with a very special guest. Scott Melker from the Wolf of All Streets will be joining us in T-minus 27 minutes to talk about everything I just discussed. But before we can talk about any of that, I have to, unfortunately, introduce you to your other co-host, Big Rob. What's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the boring, the stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. And then Bitcoin's sitting right where it was for the last 3 weeks. Do you think 16K is the new, what was it, 19 to 20K?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the further you drop, the less thousands of dollars it is, right? If you think about it. You know, you went from 60 down to 40, 40 to 20, and then now it's 20 to 16. Next drop might be 16 to 13, 16 to 14, because now you're getting to the bottom, right?
Yeah. You know, maybe 39 is the new 21.
39 is the new 21?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why does it not make sense? Guys, if you don't know, today is Big Rob's birthday. So I would like to wish him a happy birthday. This is why I'm wearing ugly ass Big Rob. So if you want to, go ahead and wish Robin a happy birthday. I don't really care, but yeah. But I do have a very special gift for Robin at the very end. You want to stay tuned for this one. I worked really hard at this. It's a surprise.
It's not this cake that's over here on my table?
No.
I got birthday cake, guys. Yes. Compliments to Rocco and his beautiful wife.
Thank you.
Am I supposed to light this candle? Is it, what's going on here?
No, we'll light it at the end.
Okay. Well,
whatever. Okay. Beautiful confetti.
Oh.
Well. All right. I don't want to waste any time.
How much confetti?
I want to stop it. I can't stop it.
Just don't press it. Repeat. Just don't press it. All right, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. Again, like I did mention, we do have a very special guest joining us, Scott Melker. We're going to talk with him about FTX. We're going to talk about Solana. Solana dApps are now starting to integrate with other blockchains. What does this mean? Is this a sign that they understand that Solana might not make it? So now they're expanding to other chains. We'll talk about that. But no, it's not barbecue chicken pizza. But before we can get into that, let's take a look at what the markets are doing, Robin.
All right. So taking a look at Bitcoin, as we mentioned, we're sitting at $16,370. And so just to take a look at the chart to see how we got to where we're at, we have had a little volatility over the week, but not much at all. We were dipped as low as 16.1, testing the 16K mark. But outside of that, pretty steady for the week. And you'll see how we got to where we were. If you look at the month chart, all the way up from 20,000. This was the FTX explosion, all the way down, wicking down to 15.8, and then 15.6 down here on this side. And so what's at the bottom? We agree it is the bottom if we are free of bankruptcies and if there's no more withdrawal freezes. And so barring that, we believe that is the bottom, but we're both in the camp that we probably are going to see some contagion spread. We're going to see some other institutions that over leverage themselves that are owed money by both FTX and BlockFi. And perhaps Gemini will go under as well. That's in anticipation, probably some likelihood to it. But they do have a lot of big money behind them, so maybe somebody will bail them out.
And guys, if you didn't watch our afternoon video upload yesterday, we did I believe it was around 3:30. We talked about BlockFi. We shared a never before aired interview we had with one of their executives down in Miami this year. So Bitcoin 2022. So after the stream today, make sure to go check that out. It's interesting to hear what his name is Shane, what he had to say and kind of how it ties together with what's going on. We've got some BlockFi news today as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, some of the biggest gainers for today, we have the Hobie Global token up 10% over 43%. This did get a huge pull down with all the FTX debacle. Everyone was questioning the exchange tokens, so naturally you would expect to bounce back. This doesn't change our perspective when it comes to exchange tokens. Is there a place for exchange tokens? That's another conversation to have. But as of right now, nothing has really changed in the space. So I wouldn't feel too confident in getting into exchange tokens. What about you, David?
No.
You think any value at all?
Zero.
I mean, I feel like you could trade them because they have probably the most volatility over other projects in the similar
I would
spot.
not. You won't catch me holding a exchange token.
So
outside of maybe BNB,
a lot of volatility is good for trading, not good for the faint of heart or for long-term portfolios, especially when you call into question what is the premise of even having those and the liabilities that come with having an exchange token. Because obviously, if you need some money, you can just print some, right? So
rename the Sam Bankman-Fried, yes.
That's right. And then what else we got? We got Dogecoin up 5%. Taking a look at the bubbles, just to give you more of a broader ecosystem look. A lot of green across, which is surprising because Bitcoin's only up 1%. So,
what are your thoughts on Hex?
We were discussing this before. Richard Hart, he is super vocal. He's very abrasive. And so some people, you either love them or hate them. I think the Hex project, it has a lot of promise. It has one of the strongest communities out there. So no slight at Hex at all, but I would do some research before you get into their ecosystem. They have the Pulse chain, which I know is having some roadmap deviation. So that is got the community a little irritated, or some of the members, but a lot of these hexicans, as they call them, they just will blindly follow Richard and wherever he goes. So it just depends. For me, I feel like there's a little too much volatility, a little too much buzz, I guess, and I just don't feel like it's the safest play for my portfolio. Nothing against the project. I don't have any exposure to Hex. And at the moment, I don't see myself getting into it. But
you think that whole sacrifice thing was weird?
The sacrifice. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Hex sacrifice, so basically you sacrificed Ethereum
and Bitcoin.
Yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin. You burn it and to like a burn wallet address. And then what they're doing is they're issuing tokens out as a donation for your burning. And it's simply just circumventing the ICO and what would be deemed a security, right? So instead of me saying, hey, you can buy this token for, say, 1 Ethereum, you can get 100 tokens. You just burn 1 Ethereum and you get 100 tokens. It's the exact same. There's no difference because I give 1 Ethereum and then on the back end, you're issued out those tokens. So they have the value of whatever the burn was. Now, the only difference being is that the foundation doesn't hold the Ethereum and can't dump the Ethereum, but nothing's stopping them from dumping their own tokens, right?
Yeah.
So it's essentially just packaged up in a different way, in a fun and sexy way, right? And so it's literally just to appease regulators that would call into question issuance of security and how ICOs are issued. And also, it's definitely a marketing ploy, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a different way. It's something fresh and something that people talk about. Like, oh, hey, all you got to do is burn this Ethereum and then you're going to airdrop you. But then at the same time, you're putting in to faith, burning Ethereum with the promise of an airdrop, right? Would you feel comfortable doing that, David?
No.
Yeah. I'm
sorry.
I think it's a little too gimmicky, and when it comes to finance, when it comes to like my money, my hard-earned money. The last thing I want to do is
work hard for your money.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is like go out and risk it and be like, hey, I'm just gonna burn this Ethereum and I should get an airdrop here. I hope. And not to mention Richard Hart. I mean, if you follow him on Twitter, every 5 minutes he's tweeting another shopping spree at the Louis Vuitton store. So I'm just saying that the money comes from somewhere.
So big shout out to Big Jimmy, $10 super chat said, Robin, soon you'll be able to buy some altcoins.
Thank you.
Are you done with the markets? Because I want to jump right into some of the news.
Yeah, I'm done with the markets.
Okay. So
thank you for all the birthday love, guys. Yeah, appreciate it.
Whose arm is this? Whose arm is this? That's Kyler, by the way. All right. So you're good. I'm kidding. You can stay. Just stay. Please stay. Don't leave me. So yesterday, BlockFi officially filed for bankruptcy. Well, of course, bankruptcy filings, news comes out. If you watched around the blockchain yesterday, Robin did highlight a segment of their bankruptcy filing that talked about, what did it talk about again, Rob? That talked about they were printing tokens or FTT or, someone owed someone a lot of money. Well, here it is.
That's a good take.
Thank you. BlockFi sues Sam Bankman-Fried over their shares in Robinhood. BlockFi is sourced from Cointelegraph. BlockFi has filed a lawsuit against SBF's holding company, Emergent Fidelity Technologies, seeking his shares in Robinhood that were pledged as collateral earlier in November. BlockFi is demanding that Emergent turn over collateral as part of a November 9th pledge agreement that saw Emergent agree to a payment schedule with BlockFi that it has allegedly failed to pay. BlockFi names the collateral as, quote, including certain shares of common stock. Now, here's what's interesting. And now it's known that BlockFi had over $330 million locked on FTX, on top of they're owed over $600 million from Alameda Research. That's $1 billion. Like, how? We saw this with Voyager. Alameda borrows money from Voyager. Voyager's in hot water, and then Voyager has to go back and borrow money from Alameda. When Alameda's on the back end trying to gobble up other companies and expand their reach, but they can't pay their creditors back when they're going under, and the same thing with BlockFi. How do you owe a failing company $600 million, then give them a line of credit, and then agree to buy them at like a 20th of their valuation just 10 months ago? Does that make any sense to you, bro? Like some weird was going on with FTX.
That's FTX-onomics, right?
That might be a trademark.
It is. I mean, this is part of their playbook, is to lend out money, cause leverage. And then they did the same thing with the some of their projects or their tokens that they were listing. Is that you lend out, you lend a helping hand. You offer somebody basically like some support, and then on the back end you're screwing them over by manipulating the markets. And so I'm telling you,
guys,
they are a mastermind. Like, that's like an evil corporation. Right?
Listen, if you haven't figured out already that FTX going under is probably, I could argue, the best thing that could have happened to crypto in a bear market. We flushed out this con man, this person that literally ruined hundreds, possibly thousands of people's lives, from project founders to normal investors to his own employees. We finally weeded him out, guys. And I know if you have money on FTX or if you have money like in Solana, whatever the case may be, the ripple effects are hard. I get it. But I'm telling you, if the whistle wasn't blown on this guy and he was still in the next bull run doing what he's doing, guys, we would have never gotten to the potential that we will get to now that he's out of here. And so in the long run, this is great. Get this, don't want to say the word, out of our system, out of our ecosystem, and let's flourish like we know the technology, the industry will flourish. Amen or what?
Amen.
What What did you
No,
want,
I don't want
a drum?
anything. I just wanted a confirmation of that was a good take, David. Thank you very much.
But can we get a round of applause for David? He is a man of amazing takes today. Holy crap, man! Oh man!
You're so kind. I wish it was your birthday.
We
every
need
day, man.
like a belt, some hats. Do you still got confetti? Can we throw some confetti on David? Here.
You won't know how to
there,
stop
coming
it.
up.
There we go. There
Look
it is.
at that.
You man of amazing takes. Thank you so
All right.
much.
We're gonna get into FTX, Solana, possibly some Kevin O'Leary here in a minute. But before we do that, so Aave just suspended some trading pairs. So they froze multiple lending markets, citing volatility concerns. This is from our favorite news source, Crypto Potato. The decentralized lending protocol Aave has temporarily disabled its lending markets for multiple Ethereum-based tokens facing excess volatility and low liquidity. On Sunday, Aave passed a near-unanimous governance vote to disable the markets, with only 2 votes against and over 500,000 votes in favor. In total, Aave's frozen market lists include Yearn Finance, Curve, ZRX, Decentraland, 1inch, Basic Attention Token, so on and so forth. Gemini stablecoin is on there. USDP, Sushi DPI, MakerDAO. It goes on to say earlier this month, Aave
Hold
faced...
on. Go back there. Okay. Yearn Finance, Curve. Those are
ZRX, that's...
so those are all lending. ZRX. Well, anyways, Mana 1inch BAT. All 3 of those
Engine.
And Engine.
And MakerDAO.
And MakerDAO.
Which-
All you know where I'm getting. You know where I'm going with this? What does have in common?
What do you have in common? Ethereum.
Alameda
Yeah.
VC tokens.
I mean...
Is it coincidence that the Alameda VC tokens are, the only one that's not on there is Nexo and Solana, but I think those have so much liquidity that even if the Alameda dumped their tokens, it wouldn't cause massive capitulation. But 1inch BAT, I think Engine, but 1inch BAT, Mana for sure, and MakerDAO, all.
I think Engine was as well, I believe.
Yeah, those are all Alameda VC projects.
Hey man, they said low liquidity and excess volatility. But listen to this.
You know what could cause volatility in our chat is the fact that Sam Bankman-Fried and Elizabeth Warren are both in the chat.
Wow.
Just saying. Maybe they'll go ahead.
Let us know if you want to join the show, guys. And I think Gary's in here too. Gary, if you're in here, show your face. So check this out. Earlier this month, Aave faced a $60 million short attack on its Curve pool using USDC as collateral. Eisenberg, ultimately, the person who did this, forget his first name. His last name is Eisenberg. He was also the person behind the Mango Market attack on Solana. He ultimately failed and lost $10 million in the process. And this is a quote from Aave, okay? The Aave ecosystem was built with a number of mechanisms that the Aave community can deploy to cover events like this, including the safety module, the ecosystem reserve, and the DAO treasury. This is okay. I want your take on this, Robin. So Mango Markets, right? We see we all agree Aave is one of the you can call Aave true DeFi. You can call Aave true DeFi. You can call Compound DeFi. You cannot call Solana true DeFi. You can't even probably call Ethereum true DeFi, right? Nothing is 100% decentralized, but there's rankings. Some are more than others. When we see attacks like this happen on Mango Markets, on Solana, or any other platform like that, and then we see something on Aave, which we know is more decentralized, and the hacker not only didn't make any money, they lost $10 million.
I actually heard an interesting take that even though he lost 10 million on that, he made more on the back end by increasing another token because of the cause and effect of that. I don't know the details. I was just listening to an interesting perspective on it. Also, another interesting perspective is the fact that we're lacking the likes. We don't even have 50%.
What?
Guys, all I want for my birthday is a like button. If you like Big Rob and you want to give me a happy birthday gift, hit the like button. Thank you.
Wow. No, but seriously, you know, this was a community vote. You saw, right?
Yeah.
Like 99.999% of the community voted for this. And so these are the things we're talking about as far as getting ahead of it, right? They saw the excess volatility, low liquidity. They're like, hey, we need to protect the platform. Let's stop these. They adjust their the lending and borrowing rates. Like, can you say Aave is they haven't had any issues, right? Luna went down, nothing happened to Aave. Celsius went down, nothing happened to Aave. FTX goes down, nothing happened to Aave, right? So can we say, are you comfortable saying Aave is the gold standard when it comes to DeFi, Robin?
I don't know. Right now, it's the strongest, but I don't know. I don't think anything is gold standard right now. I think the space is so young. DeFi really wasn't even a thing before 2019, and so it was just a promise. And so I think we're trying to figure things out. We're trying to iron things out. Way too new in the space. Obviously, you have your front runners, your Uniswap, your Aaves. I know those are different protocols. You know, they handle different things, but I'd be careful on holding all my eggs in one basket and believing wholeheartedly in these platforms. They haven't been tested. We've seen what happens in DeFi when you play with liquidity, and when whales decide to move markets, when they decide to take loans, collateralized loans, you can gain the system. And usually when you gain the system, it's at the expense of retail. So I would be cautious. Now, just because there's not some CEO that makes the decisions and there's not someone that can be held accountable as far as, hey, it's his fault. You know, you can also have a fault of the design of the program. And so just because you don't have one person to point the finger at, you can easily point the finger at the code or the idea or the lack of liquidity or the influence of the rules by someone with a lot of money. And so I think DeFi is the future. However, I would proceed with caution right now, especially in times of low liquidity. This is when things are easily manipulated by whales because there's not enough money in the system to support all of the features that they're supposed to have. So,
Jimmy said 5.7 billion of liquidity locked in Aave across 7 networks, and their stuff is like, it's all in the contract. Like if you're at 80% or 81% and it dips under that, you are getting liquidated, no matter if it's Alameda or anyone. And so that's the beauty of DeFi and letting code and contracts run everything, right? And so, in my opinion, if I'm a project manager, if I'm a person that's getting ready to launch a DeFi lending platform, what am I looking at as, all right, do this and don't do this? I'm looking at Aave and I'm looking at Compound. I'm like, okay, what are they doing right? Because they've been unfazed throughout this entire debacle that started with Terra Luna back in May and 3AC and then everything everything that came after. So interesting. I'm a big fan of Aave. I hold some Aave in my portfolio just to be 100% transparent. And then, I'm not shilling Aave, but you know,
I do want to give a little love to the chat though. I want to give some of that Felice love.
What?
Felice love. That's so as they say, yeah, it's like a biozard. Yes. Earlier, Rocco was trying to say biohazard. And he said biozard, and I was so confused.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
That's what I said.
You guys are weird.
Anyways,
why are you showing me wiping my eyes, bro?
So we got Jonathan Suarez, not to be confused with the Uruguayan player that lost yesterday. We also have Emersoft, Nick D's, Tony C, Root, Brian P, DK, RJ, and Crypto Tucker 420. Hola! Welcome.
CT 420. What's up, man? All right. So, Robin, this is a big topic.
If you're new here, say hello so I can drop hola.
This was a big topic of conversation after the whole SBF thing, stealing money. He was donating a lot of money to, him and FTX. They were donating money to both Democrats and Republicans. And people were saying, give the money back. Well, it seems that one person is giving the money back. And that's Mr. Beto O'Rourke.
That is a nice backdrop he's got there. Like
amazing.
Who wears a suit out hiking? That's what I want to know.
Excuse me. He returns $1 million to Sam Bankman-Fried. Why'd you return it to him, bro? Just return it to the people. Former Democratic candidate for governor of Texas.
Hold on. He sent money back to Sam Bankman-Fried?
I guess.
Stop it. You can't make this crap up,
okay.
bro.
Well, hold on. Former Democratic candidate for governor of Texas, Beto O'Rourke, gave back the money from Sam Bankman-Fried, the former CEO of the failed crypto venue, donated $1 million to O'Rourke's campaign. The report claims that the campaign returned the $1 million donation before the FTX debacle became public around November 4th.
Well, why would he do that?
Thank you. Why would he do that? And then it goes on to say this contribution was unsolicited, and the campaign's upcoming Texas Ethics Commission report will show that it was returned back on November 4th prior to the news stories. Now, why on earth would Beto O'Rourke know just 3 days before it imploded to return the money? Robin,
You're saying that he knows something we don't know?
I mean, is it coincidence? Can you explain?
I mean, that's all speculation, but I mean, sure, why not?
Sure, speculation, but use common sense.
I don't know. Maybe he had beef with him. I don't know.
Yeah, 3 days before they went under. Makes sense. All right, we have our guests ready. We're going to go ahead and bring them on. Rocco, let's go patch him in. Mr. Melker, how you doing?
What's up, fellas? How are you? Doing well.
Good. Hey, first and foremost, thank you so much. We know you're a busy man. You're in high demand. We appreciate you taking the time to join us on the show. We did meet you at the Web3 Expo in Las Vegas. You had your own room. You were doing some badass interviews. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm David, by the way, the guy in the hat's Robin. I want to start this off by maybe, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, kind of your journey in crypto, and what they can expect when they follow you on either Twitter or YouTube.
A lot of sarcasm and bad jokes that people in foreign countries don't understand. That's what you can expect from me. So I extremely sarcastic person, and unfortunately, I think that's a lost art, especially in print when you have an international audience. But no, seriously, I mean, I think that certainly in a bear market, the way that I generally deal with lower prices and losing money and the misery in the community is just make a lot of jokes, right? So I think some people appreciate that, maybe others don't. But listen, I started trading and investing when I was 13 years old. Luckily, I had parents who took financial literacy somewhat seriously. And I went to the University of Pennsylvania, which in the late 90s was sort of a finance hub. They were giving out jobs on Wall Street like Halloween candy. Of course, I decided to become a DJ and music producer instead of taking one of those jobs, which maybe wasn't, in hindsight, the greatest decision I could have ever made. But I started, in college trading, generally very poorly for about 20 years until I got more serious about it, which was right when I found crypto in late 16, 17. And listen, just like a lot of people, I had very, I think, fortunate timing. I just got lucky to hit the market at the right time to capitalize on the everyone's a genius in a bull run moment that was late 2016, early 2017. And, so then I was able to really transition my music life of almost 20 years into a life of trading in crypto. And then, like a lot of other people as well, I think once the music stopped and the bear market struck and things got bad, that's when I really started to dig in and find a rationalization for being in the market and really learned how important Bitcoin was as an asset. Sort of got orange pilled probably a year or two after I started just trading the market. And, the rest is history.
Awesome, man. No, the whole sarcasm thing. So every single person at Sin City Crypto has worked in a restaurant. And so literally all we do is sarcasm and mess around with each other. So speaking of...
dude, I was a DJ for 20 years. The only way you deal with being in a club at 3 o'clock in the morning with drunk people is to have a really good sense of humor, biting sense of humor. So.
My cousin in Sweden was a DJ. And I remember one time I was on a set with him and this guy kept coming up and asking for a song and interrupting him. And he was like, dude, I will play when I have time. And then he's like, if you come up here again, I will literally beat your ass. The guy came up here. My cousin came from around the DJ booth, grabbed him by his shirt, threw him across the wall. The dude lost his shoe and they kicked the guy out. So
at least without a shoe, that's brutal. Yeah,
he's a pretty strong guy.
That's how I feel in the bear market right now.
Yeah. So, you mentioned sarcasm, okay? And I got to share this tweet you put out yesterday, okay? And This hit me, bro. This hit me in a different way than you might think. So you said, by the way, if you're not following Scott Melker, the Wolf of All Streets, go and follow him on Twitter at Scott Melker. Your most valuable resource is time. If you value your time, it's probably best to skip having kids. That life hack is free. You're welcome. As a father of 3, I 100% agree with you. If you value,
I thought that was clearly a sarcastic tweet, and I have hundreds of responses being like, "You're a terrible person, man. Kids are a treasure. It's the only value to." I'm like, dude, I thought everyone who followed me on Twitter knew that I had 2 young children, that I love them, and it's wonderful. But the reason people are so triggered by this is because they know it's partially true.
Yes.
It's that hint of truth that really gets them. And then the parents have to cope and like respond in defense of their family and their children because they know that they'd secretly rather be on a beach saving that private school money. And I don't know, parasailing or something.
You know what? I have 2 kids, and my most prized vacation was the adults only all inclusive trip to Cancun. It was it was a dream come true, man.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, listen, it's whatever. I was obviously being sarcastic. That was in a slew of tweets where I was just making fun of all the people who share constant life hacks on Twitter. Yes. You know, like, I know that you don't do any of this shit. Wake up and meditate for 14.7 hours, and you'll have a productive day. Like, fuck off. Nobody's meditating. What's wrong with you? Like, we don't meditate. We get up and we make breakfast for our kids. Like, you know, so it's sort of a shot at that. Like, yeah, I think my next tweet was like, the secret to weight loss is to only eat 12 minutes a day and focus solely on Tabasco sauce or something like that. Right. I'm obviously not being serious. So
I'm surprised you didn't get canceled for these, with everything going on.
I've been canceled so many times that I've like uncanceled, like each cancellation brings you back. It basically cancels itself.
The double cancellation. All right.
Yeah.
I want to get into to some topics here. So right before you came on, we talked about FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. I know you're in the know with what's going on, but they were donating a lot of money to both Democrats and Republicans, and come to find out, it was customer funds. And there was this debate on, should those people who received that money, should they give it back because it was customer funds?
Obviously.
It was stolen. What's your take on that? Yes?
Obviously. Hey, they should have given it back even if it's not stolen customer funds, right? Because we know that it came from a nefarious actor who was trying to buy political influence, admittedly. But all campaign financing is people trying to buy political favors, right? So it's a broken system, obviously. Politicians shouldn't be for sale. And frankly, that's the only way that they can get elected, is to sell obviously influence to people who have enough money to do that. But now, knowing that it's stolen funds, there's no question that money should absolutely be returned. And it's interesting. I was kind of saying this the whole time, that I think he was only donating to the Democrats' narrative was incorrect. Listen, I am party unaffiliated. I am apolitical. I think that both sides are just 2 sides of the same coin. So I'm not choosing sides here, and I hate any political debate. But he was obviously donating to both sides. He was buying favors where he thought he could find them. And as he sort of admitted in that recent interview, he was just doing it more quietly to the Republicans because he thought he would piss off the journalists. Right. But I don't think there's any question that when money is secured by nefarious means, that it should be returned. Because if the politicians return that money, it will literally, in a very small percentage, sadly, go back to the people who it was stolen from in the first place.
That's 100% true. Now we did just cover, right before you came on, Beto O'Rourke, right? He was the former governor candidate for Texas. He returned the $1 million on November 4th of this year. And we know FTX went down on November 7th. My thing is, to me, I don't believe that's a coincidence. Do you think some of these people knew what was going on, especially high-level ranking politicians, knew what they were doing, and then when they saw the ship start to sink, guy was just like, hey, just give the money back before anything breaks?
I don't think you have to have the former to have the latter, per se, right? Like, I really try not to pander too much in conspiracy theory. I get the inclination to do so. And obviously, where there's smoke, there's generally fire. So I can see what you're saying. But I think that there was a lot of heat on FTX already by November 3rd. The CoinDesk article had come out. I'm assuming that there's a lot of people who were suspicious by that point of Sam Bankman-Fried and just chose to return those donations just to get ahead of it. Even if they didn't know that FTX was actually going to collapse, they probably certainly had at least a hint of an idea that things could go wrong for SBF, that there was something untoward happening there. So I have no idea why he did it, but rather than like take the negative view of it, I would just kind of applaud the guy for returning the money and leave it at that for now.
It's also surprising that the collapse happened to coincide perfectly with the end of the election. As soon as the election was over, the midterms were over, that's when all of this got exposed. So I think that some people were aware. We obviously know that they weren't working in secret and that nobody knew what they were doing. It just didn't come to light until after the midterm elections. So take that as you will. And to reference that,
go ahead.
To reference what you brought up earlier with FTX donating to the Republicans, just to get you guys caught up, because we haven't covered it. Tiffany Fong, she came out with a interview she had with Sam Bankman-Fried, where he said in their interview that they were donating, that Sam Bankman-Fried was donating also to the Republicans through a Citizens United, which was
shell companies. He used shell companies.
It's just a secretive way, I guess, to donate.
They call it dark. They call it dark donations, but it's allowed, right? And so he just wanted to do it quietly. Everybody knows that campaign finance is broken, right? And so like maybe it is timed conveniently with the elections, although I don't see how this really helps anyone in the election in retrospect, putting a lot of heat. I would say it's just a result of this is as far as he could push it and remain secret after the Luna and 3AC collapse probably blew up Alameda. I think that he, did enough mental and financial gymnastics that eventually just caught up to him. CoinDesk published that article. CZ obviously saw the opportunity to crash FTT, and that caused a bank run. And I think that I genuinely believe that the house of cards just collapsed at that moment because so many factors led to that bank run. I don't really think that it's coincidental or non-coincidental timing. I just think that it could only go on for so long when you're trying to hide that big of holes and you're bailing out other companies, which is helping you to fill those holes. And it really just becomes this out of control Ponzi scheme. I think that 6 months was about the expiration date on that strategy.
Fair enough. And, you brought up CZ, and Robin and I had this talk yesterday. Where's your trust meter on CZ? Right? 1 being you don't trust a single word he says. 10 being you trust the guy with everything. Think about everything that's happened, the timing of everything. Dylan LeClaire from Bitcoin Magazine put out a tweet thread talking about, this is oddly similar to what SBF was doing after Voyager and Luna went down. We're going to open up a fund. We're going to help these projects, saying, hey, Binance does this. These other companies don't. Where do you land on CZ? Do you trust him, or do you think there's an ulterior motive at play?
I think that I've always been extremely trusting and viewed the positive in people, and that's been to my detriment in the crypto space, unfortunately. Right. I think that we obviously have the ethos in the United States that you're innocent until proven guilty. But I think that moving forward in crypto, sadly, we have to view people as guilty until proven innocent. So I would say that I'm inclined to want to trust him, but I'm obviously skeptical. That said, just because he's a billionaire and just because he's doing a bailout doesn't make him the same as Sam Bankman-Fried. I think that's jumping to conclusions. And obviously you see, Polygon and Jump Crypto and Animoca Brands and all these people are contributing to that fund. And it's transparently sitting in a wallet on the blockchain for everyone to see. So it's really not the same situation. I feel like it's more of an apples to oranges comparison than apples to apples. I mean, listen, these guys are billionaires. They made billions of dollars overnight. And we've continually seen that level of hubris with that level of money at that age be a recipe for disaster. But again, that doesn't mean that will be the case with CZ. I think that this was a massive and well strategized power grab to some degree on his part. And for now, listen, I think we should all hope that Binance remains solvent and that he's telling the truth. Amen. Right. And on top of that, he is openly saying, get your coins off my exchange. Right. He's very vocal about not your keys, not your coins. He says, listen, you can use Binance as an on and off ramp, not in the United States, obviously, but not what you can for Binance.us. And you should keep whatever you're trading here, but the rest of it you should put in cold storage. So he really at least is like speaking the ethos of Bitcoin from the beginning, which is that we all, listen, no matter what you think of exchanges, we all need them, right? Like, I live in the real world where my kids' private school tuition can't be paid in Bitcoin, and I wouldn't want to anyways. So at some point, you need to get in and out of dollars from the crypto market. And that at this point still requires a centralized exchange, KYC, AML, reporting to taxes, all of those boring things that everyone in crypto seems to hate. So exchanges will always have their place as long as that's the case. And I do like that he's at least saying the right things and warning people to, remove your coins and put them onto your own wallet and to self-custody. So I would say I give it like a 5 or a 6, right? I want it to be somewhere else. But the reality is I like what he's saying, but I'm skeptical of everyone because you know what? I would have counted Steve Ehrlich from Voyager as a friend, right? Like done countless interviews. They were my first supporters years ago. I literally met them in Vegas in 2019. I was one of their first 100 customers, having nothing to do with any sponsorships or anything. They showed me the platform. That's where I traded. That's what I used it. And because of my trust and belief in them and them not really answering my questions at the end, but me sort of being like, oh, we're friends. He wouldn't fuck me over. I ended up with millions of dollars locked on Voyager, right? So I learned the lesson the hard way because of my trust. So I'm not doing that shit again, and I don't think anyone else should. So listen, protect yourself, and you don't need to worry about trusting any of them, right? Take self-custody, worry about yourself, protect your own assets, and it doesn't really matter what any of them say. Because listen, even if they all go under over time, yes, we'll continue to see this contagion and prices crashing and all of these things, but none of that has anything to do with the assets. That has to do with a bunch of dumbass 30-year-olds who made billions of dollars overnight building a shittier version of the 2008 financial system without regulation when that was supposed to be what we were raging against in the first place, right? This is the fault of human beings, has nothing to do with Bitcoin or the asset class. So if you self-custody and have patience, the price will go back up, right? We just need all of this excess to be washed out of the system.
I do want to echo what Jesse Powell, CEO of Kraken, was saying about a week ago when it comes to your crypto on exchanges, and that it for an exchange, if they're acting in the way that they're supposed to, and they're not rehypothecating your funds, and they're simply just acting as a custodial agent, then it's a liability for the exchange. So there's actually no incentive for them to custody your crypto. It ends up being a liability. And so when you hear the CEOs of exchanges saying we don't want your crypto on here, just onboard it when you're ready to trade, and then when you're done, take it off. And that essentially is what it boils down to. And so if they gotta take money out of their pockets to secure your funds unnecessarily if they don't need to, it just makes sense. So that's why, I don't understand, when someone says, hey, we'll give you 3% for holding your crypto here on our exchange, and we're not doing anything with it because Bitcoin just straight up doesn't generate any income on chain.
No yield. Right.
Yeah. So if they're giving you 2%, it comes from somewhere. Supposedly, everyone wants to say it's part of our marketing budget, which still doesn't make any sense.
I understood that I had some risk with Voyager, but if there had been transparency, they'd said, we gave a $650 million completely uncollateralized loan to two 30-year-old kids offshore, I would have pulled my money immediately, right? So it's a matter of transparency. I understood that they had to be lending, but my understanding from speaking with them personally was that they were responsible and not giving out jackass loans like they were. So it's a matter of trust and moving forward transparency. But I love what Jesse said as well, because I was one of the first people when all this proof of reserves things was happening. I simply tweeted, customer assets are not part of a reserve. They're not an asset for an exchange. They're a liability. That is my money, not the exchange's money. That's not part of their reserves. That's literally something that they owe me, right? And so even these proof of reserves are very misleading. Yeah.
So Jesse was also, on that proof of reserves. He came out on Twitter a couple of days ago, talking about proof of liabilities, and he was discussing the proof of reserves released by Binance. So,
dude, Nexo's proof of reserves is a joke. I looked over it. You know what the report said? It said, this is their liabilities, and they're covered 101%. They're good. That was literally on their proof of reserve sheet. And so we've been beating the same drum you're beating. It's not how much Bitcoin or Ether or whatever you have in your wallets, how much of that is liquid? How much of that is staked? How much of that is lent out? How much, you know what I'm saying? What do you have access to if everyone decides to pull their money out?
Or how much crap loans did you take out that you got to make interest payments on?
But regardless, the beauty of it is, and the lesson should be, you can avoid all of this by just custodying your assets.
Amen.
I'll keep saying it over and over again, but it doesn't really matter how much the exchange has if you're just using it as a pass-through and you're somewhat careful about how much you have on there at any given time. Listen, I've been here a long time. I've been beating the not your keys, not your coins. It was only a percentage of what I thought I was willing to put at risk, but I made the same mistakes as everyone else, right? And I own it. So listen, I had skin in the game, and I got crushed, obviously, by the Voyager situation, and it is what it is. But now I think hopefully, I say hopefully because I doubt that people will actually learn their lesson because humans don't do that. But I hope that people, at least to some degree, start to take their self-custody more seriously.
Amen to that. There's always a positive to every negative situation. Scott, I want to, Robin referenced Tiffany Fong, Sam Bankman-Fried. He's done a weird DM interview with Vox, right? That was kind of weird. He did
Which he apparently didn't know was an interview.
Right, exactly. You're like, what the hell is this? Is this guy like, he must have taken way too many Adderall. But he did he's moving into phone interviews, which is good, right? And so I want to share, this came out today. I want to share this, and then I want to get your guys' opinion. So this is from Finbold. Sam Bankman-Fried gives first ever audio interview since the FTX collapse. So this is where he was interviewed by Tiffany Fong. So it goes on to say, at the same time, SBF acknowledged he was wrong on the handling of Alameda's balance sheet, noting that the situation was, quote, a poorly labeled accounting thing. This is the next one I'm reading is a direct quote from him. He said, quote, I certainly wasn't like building some backdoor in the system. I could barely use the system. I knew this system from a user interface perspective. I was incorrect on Alameda's balances on FTX by a fairly large number, an embarrassingly large new one. And it was because of very poor labeling accounting thing.
He literally builds a back door into the system. Like he literally builds a back door into the system.
No, man, he didn't do it. He didn't program a back door into the system. I don't know how to program. Yeah, but your partner, Gary Wang, was the one who was supposed to have done it. Like, okay, it's semantics, right? I can't program, so therefore I didn't do it, as if like there's nobody on the planet that works for him or knows how to code that might have done that for him. Listen, this is all completely nonsense. Either the man is like fully mentally dysfunctional, or is an outright criminal, or is a drug addict and is a bit of both. I'm not sure, right? And I don't want to listen. I've probably had SBF on my show more times than most. I liked him. I thought he was great. I thought what he was doing. Listen, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I guess shame on me again, because I keep, I got fooled by multiple people, which is why we have to remain skeptical. But clearly, come on, man. Like, do we, like I said, I don't pander in conspiracy theory, but do we really believe that somebody not involved in FTX hacked all the funds afterwards? Like, come on, man. Like, they're making sure that they have money to live on once everything has gone down. I think it's pretty obviously. And sadly, those also are user funds, right? Yeah. Like, if people were going to get back 20 cents on the dollar, well, now it's 10 cents on the dollar because the hacker just took that spread away from you. But no, I think that this spiraled way out of control for him.
You think he'll do jail time?
And I think no. People don't go to jail for financial crimes. Do you live in America?
That's where I'm at. I'm like,
the guy's gonna be on like a $50,000 an hour book tour 6 months from now, and yeah, with bulky security guards.
What are your thoughts?
You don't go to jail.
What are your thoughts on him speaking at this New York Times thing? I asked Robin.
You actually think he's going to speak?
Well, he confirmed it.
Is it today? Is it tomorrow? It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. It's the 30th. Yeah.
I don't think he'll speak in person. There's no way he's landing.
No. But he'll video.
Every time he does a conference or anything, he shows up on Zoom. I think he'll do it because it's with Andrew Sorkin, first of all, and probably like he believes that will be in some way softball questions, and he'll be able to improve his image. I mean, he's obviously apparently showing up on all the big, Twitter spaces in the coming week, and I don't know, BitBoy stalked him out and apparently gets to talk to him, right? And I think that the guy's going to start spinning whatever narrative he can, probably in lieu of his lawyers and financial advice. And I don't want to hear it. I really don't. And we're already seeing it. It's like Suzu and Kyle Davies and Do Kwon, all these guys kind of disappeared. But then when Sam went down,
They're
there's
coming
a bigger
out.
collapse. Yeah, and they're not only coming out. It's like Kyle Davies is literally like doing like third grade level paintings and sharing them on Twitter. Suzu is waxing poetic about life lessons that he learned now that he's like become a Muslim or something, and is surfing.
Mashinsky's out of the woodworks too.
Yeah, dude, they're all going to come back. And listen, they're all. I don't know about Mashinsky because he's like 400 years old, but the rest of them, are addicted to social media, the rush that having, gratification from having an audience and whatever. And they come back and there's people who are like, yeah, bro, like we're totally with you, bro. Like the Stockholm syndrome, It's like Suzu comes back and starts talking about seeing people die while he's surfing the big waves and he met and a thing lost is a thing gained and his friend Cliff and fuck off, man. Nobody wants to hear your shit, Like you fucked us and you're not coming back here. But they're unfortunately like half the audience drops to their knees and just starts doing whatever you do when you drop to your knees.
I don't get it, dude.
So here's the thing. Okay, so no jail time. But now here's the thing. Do you think they'll get a reboot, these individuals, where they'll get back into the crypto space? I don't think Sam Bankman-Fried will, but I wouldn't be surprised to see
I think Kyle and Sue will raise some money from someone and they will have some sort of fund and they will do something. And I do think that Do Kwon will probably find a way to have a second act if he avoids jail.
Yeah.
Seems like South Korea is being a lot more aggressive towards him than the United States has been towards anyone. So he may actually, find himself in some sort of trouble.
Well,
but
the U.S. will just sanction.
But the funny thing is that he might be the only one who actually isn't a criminal.
Do Kwon?
Yeah.
Listen, I think Do Kwon was just a case of a tremendously inflated ego. He was being totally puffed up by the biggest names in the industry who empowered him to go and, shit on everybody who criticized it. I think he really believed he was building this God tier solution and that his stable coin was the greatest thing that had ever been invented and that it would work, and it exploded, right? So I think that he built something and it failed. And unfortunately, because of the hubris, a lot of people lost money when it happened. But I think that was just on a grand stage was just a massive failure of an experiment. I think the other guys, my assumption is that Suzu and Kyle were literally lying to people to get loans, because who the fuck gives you a $700 million unsecured loan if you actually tell them that you're in financial trouble? That wouldn't have happened, right? So, and Sam obviously is just literally stealing everybody's money. Too. So I think they're different situations. Do Kwon may get the punishment, but he's probably the one who's the least a criminal of all of them.
You think the Terra Luna collapse was planned and executed by FTX?
Hell yeah, dude!
I know. That's more conspiracy.
Come on, Scott, you're telling me, right? Someone knew that the liquidity was being moved from one pool on Curve to another one, and they knew at the exact moment
because it was it was supposed to be BlackRock when it first happened. It was manipulation by BlackRock and somebody else, and
I think it's possible. I think it's that. Listen, but that kind of thing doesn't really piss me off. That's the free market, right? If you 3AC complaining that FTX swept their stops and all those things, if you're a whale and there's a bigger whale who can take advantage of your positioning to make more money, unfortunately that's part of the free market, right? And so you can't have it both ways. If you believe in a free market, I love when people are like, we love crypto, it's a free market. And then the minute they lose money because a trade goes wrong or they feel their stops got swept, they cheer for regulation, right? You can't have both. So if you want a truly free market, then certain things are going to get stop hunted and certain people are going to collapse and certain people are going to get liquidated by a bigger player. I'm not saying it's good for anyone, but if that happened, I don't know that that's necessarily nefarious or if it's just a function of Do Kwon getting completely fucking pwned by someone who was better at trading than he was. Well, I don't know.
If it didn't happen now, it would have happened.
If FTX targeted them, that's tale as old as time. Look at George Soros destroyed the pound, right?
That was crazy.
This is literally how markets work. This is, you can go back and read any account of the greatest traders and investors of all time, and this is what they do, right? So listen, I think that sucks, but if that's what happened, then that's life. You should have not been positioned in a way that could happen with billions and billions of dollars of people's money.
It's just, I think for me, it's the fact that Alameda had a backdoor into FTX, can see all people's liquidation points, and
that's illegal. listen, if they're literally like looking at your stop losses and saying, if we push price to here, that is nefarious, illegal, that should be stopped. But if they just knew like, hey, like 3AC is extremely leveraged long, and somewhere between 17 and 20,000, they're going to get liquidated. We're going to push price there. Sadly, that's, the way of the free market. If you have enough money to make that happen, then because you have to remember that strategy also carries tremendous risk, because if it fails, you've now sold all your Bitcoin down to that price and it bounces. So it's not as easy, I don't think, to manipulate Bitcoin price as people think it is. UST and Terra may be a lot easier.
Now, Scott, before we let you go, I want to ask you, so, you mentioned BitBoy Ben Armstrong. He's kind of, went to the Bahamas. He's kind of, he was blowing the horn on Sam Bankman-Fried a couple months before the whole thing came crashing down. He's blowing the horn on blowing the horn on Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary's hole. Yeah, I know.
He's blowing the horn on, he knew I was going with this, on Kevin O'Leary, talking about he was complicit in everything Sam did. He mentioned that weeks before Celsius went down, Kevin O'Leary made a statement like, we need to see a Celsius go to zero. Also, Kevin O'Leary was on Crypto Banter, and he pretty much said, yeah, I would back Sam again. We know you've interviewed Kevin multiple times. You've spent time with him. Were you surprised when you heard that? And what were your kind of thoughts? And have you talked to him since this all happened?
No, I mean, he doesn't even follow me on Twitter, honestly. He takes the calls when we do an interview. So Kevin and I would love to say that we're more friendly than we are, but he's a great person to interview, and obviously that's where it pretty much ends. I was surprised to hear that. I do think that if you listen to the whole thing, it was a bit out of context, which is normal. People grab the one quote and don't finish the rest of the sentence. And I think that he tried to at least clarify that it would require a whole lot of protections being in place, and other things would have had to happen. But I think that's just extremely colorblind and in poor taste at that moment when so many people are losing money. Like, what was Kevin's upside to saying that?
Right.
I don't know. I think it was a mistake. I can't imagine he truly meant it. But he deserves all the criticism in the world, I think, for making that comment. That doesn't mean that he should be branded a murderer or whatever's happening. I literally don't even know what the story is or how deep
I don't have the full details on that.
Goes. I don't know that. I don't believe that he's under coercion to say it. I think he just said something really stupid because he's a guy who, listen, he was paid as a promoter or sponsor of FTX, right? Had money in FTX, has been beating the drum for FTX. This is extremely embarrassing for him, right? So I'm assuming he's just when he does press, it's really hard questions to answer, and he's probably just trying to thread the needle on not looking like a complete asshole for having supported them for so long, but also not totally throwing it all under the bus. I think it's just really hard, and he probably said something that he will regret for a very, very long time.
Amen to that. Mm-hmm. Scott, we first and foremost, we really appreciate your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you, my friend. Guys,
you draw a crowd, man. We got over 200 people in the chat today, so
nice.
Turnout.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you.
Guys, go follow Wolf of All Streets on YouTube. The link to the description the link to that is in the description of this video. Also, go follow him on Twitter at Scott Melker. And Scott, we look forward to bringing you on again in the future, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys. I'm just laughing because I just saw Rob's loud-spoken crypto expert. I love that. I might have to steal that as my new description.
It's also his birthday today, so he's a loud-spoken birthday crypto expert.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday
cake here.
Don't wish him a happy
birthday. Must feel good to finally be 21.
Yeah, even though it looks like he's 50. Scott, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Take care. Oh, man. All right.
Do I get to light this thing yet or what, man?
Yeah,
I'm hungry,
go ahead and
bro.
light. I wrote something for you, Robin.
You wrote something for me.
So you guys remember haikus? You know what a haiku is, Robin? You remember writing haikus in high school?
Sure.
It was 5 syllables.
Where are you going with this, bro?
5 syllables, 7 syllables. If you know what a haiku is, guys, put a 1 in the chat. Because I wrote Robin a haiku for his birthday.
I know what are you talking about.
You know what a haiku? So it's 3 sentences. First sentence is 5 syllables. 7 sentences, 7. Second sentence, 7. And the last sentence is 5 syllables. So here's my haiku to Robin. Rob, you're a great guy. But please, for the love of God, shave your ugly beard. Thank you.
That's it? That's all it is?
That's all I got, yeah.
It's
It's a haiku. It's 3 sentences, bro.
I am.
hell is that?
I am
was a
not
haiku
shaving
master.
until Bitcoin hits all-time high.
Yeah, okay.
I will not
Yeah,
shave.
great.
Oh, you call the things IQ? What is it called?
Haiku.
It's more like
It's a Japanese poetry technique
More
that I was a
like,
master at.
More like low IQ. All right.
What's your wish? What's your wish going to be?
I'm wishing for 10,000 subscribers.
Wow. Blow. You're really good at that. There you go. All right, guys. That's it for the show today. We are on the way to watch the U.S. advance. USA to advance into the elimination or whatever the hell you call it, the next round. So, guys, follow us on social media. Check out our merch store. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Rocco. You did it too early, man. Friends, family, friends of family, and family, friends. We thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday. Big thank you to Scott Melker from Wolf of All Streets. Please go support all of our guests. On behalf of myself, the birthday boy, Don Rocco, and Kyler Murray. We love you guys. We will see you tomorrow. We got T.A. Tim joining us. We'll see you then. Peace.
What is called IQ?
Low IQ.
You know, in Italy, we do something better. You start a little from far away. In 1492, you know, when the 3 boats were sent. It's stuff. It takes us more time for you to say.
Need a spoon.
Thank you, Jason, for the super chat. Happy birthday, Big Rob.
In here? Is that why you brought it here? Because I was talking about how dry it was. This is moist here. This is moist. This one looks dry. I mean, I appreciate it. You know, the happy birthday love. I love it.
On air if that's dry or moist, bro.
You got some milk?
Nothing but care.
Some half and half.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I wish I did fine.